Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Redneckologist show. This is Spur. Coot's not with me, and he may not be with me for a little bit. Actually, I may be converting this show. Don't know yet. Don't know yet. I may be converting this show over to a one-man show. That will not be because Coot and I have had any type of disagreements or anything, but that's just because life kind of got in the way of our little hobby here that we started together. But, um, I still have the tenacity and wherewithal to bring you some content from time to time. And I'm thinking about starting a new one, starting with this show right here, called Just Add Beer. The purpose of the Just Add Beer section is to reduce my inhibitions so that I can bring you honest content from the clouded mind and heart of me. So, it's not like I'm going to sit here and drink a 12 pack and then start talking. I mean, I only cracked my first beer. I'm going to pause from time to time in this segment to go to the refrigerator and get me another beer, and which is located right across the room. I'm out in, we have a shop, and I built a room on out here, and I call it the Man Cave, and that's where I do all of my recording. So this will change soon. Don't know where I'm going to land, but wherever I do land, all the equipment's going with me, so I'll be able to bring you some content and broadcasts and things like that, and hopefully from time to time we can have Coot join us again. I'll be changing our logos and things like that, but yeah, for right now, I'm planning on converting this show over. Let me add a little more beer to this. Okay. So, like I said, lowering inhibitions. Now, I like keeping this show clean. I'm not going to be going over the top on anything. I'm going to try to keep as clear-headed as possible. But I do shoot pool better after 2 or 3 beer, and I think I can bring you some content a little better after 2 or 3 beers. So, I'm drinking Coors Light. I'll just go ahead and tell you that so we can get all cozy with each other. I like Coors Light as a domestic beer that's lower in cost, but I also like Guinness. I like Amstel Light. I tend to go for lighter beers except for Guinness. I will drink every once in a while a Sam Adams, a Stella Artois. Stuff like that, and I have the glasses up in the freezer. I have the Stella Steins, and I have the Pilsner glasses and mugs and things like that. And I like pouring it over the Primo beer. I like pouring it over into a frozen glass or mug that's designed for it. I have the Guinness glasses, with the bigger top and the bulge in there. So I do like black and tans, stuff like that. But my everyday beer, because it is so much more cost effective, is Coors Light. But I am a beer fan. I do like wine here and there. My wife drinks wine way more than I do. That's her drink of choice. And I'm not saying that she drinks a lot of wine. I'm just saying she drinks more wine than I do because I'm usually drinking beer. So shout out, honey. I'm not calling you a wino. But what I wanted to talk about is, a little maybe more controversial topics, a little bit grittier from time to time. But like I said, I like keeping the show clean. I don't want to go off on some tirades of things and be nasty to people or anything like that. I'm quite the contrary. I don't like being nasty to people. I like keeping things civil, and I like enjoying life. Some people call me optimistic. I'm a realist. I look at the world in a certain way, and I try to see it as realistically as possible. I am going to edit out these pauses. I will be taking a drink of beer here and there, and I don't have Coot to help me out. So when I pause to get a drink or something, he's not there to fill in the dead space. So I will edit these out. So if you hear a couple of jumps in the audio, here and there, I'll try to keep it as clean as possible, but it's probably from me chugging a little bit of beer or getting up to go to the refrigerator to grab another one. I don't want you all to have to sit through all of those dead air spaces in there, so I will try to edit that down. So the first topic for just add beer that I'd like to kind of tackle is politics. And I know it's fairly sensitive right now with everything that's been going on. I'm going to preface this by saying I don't really take a side. I take the side of humanity, and we're Americans, and I have nothing against any other nation. As far as yeah, I know there's some out there that are shadier than others. I was in the military. I understand. I've been around the world. I've lived in other cultures and other nations. But for the most part, all of those cultures and nations are made up of people. They're made up of families. They're made up of people who cry, who laugh, who joke, who get mad, who do all of the things that humans do. And we are a reasoning animal, and that's the thing that sets us apart from the other animals is we have reason. I don't like to only take care of my community. So if you draw the border down and say, well, I only care for the people that live on my street, or I only care about the people who live in my small town, or I only care about the people in my state, or I only care about the people in the United States. See, it keeps going and going and going. And you can limit or not limit as much as possible. Now, I'm not saying that America should just be a freeway where anybody can come in and out anytime they want to. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is I think we need to have a little more caring nature about us. And I think that's one of the things that makes us strong, at least in the past. If we can have the fortitude to look out at the world and say, you know what, we're going to rise above the hate, the bickering, and all of that, and we're going to lend aid where we can, and is what's feasible, and we're going to help. And we have done missions before. I mean, when we get involved in an area, we have to a certain degree of responsibility over that area if we're destabilizing an area. And if we see crimes against humanity, so to speak, or things like that, like someone is testing chemical war or chemical agents on a group of people, or they're just torching them on the side of the road because they're trying to wipe out a group of people that they see as inferior. Those are the types of things I think America should step in and assist with stopping those things. And we have done that in the past, but we usually only do that when we're immediately involved and we feel some level of responsibility that we caused the atrocity to, or at least open the door for the type of person that would do those types of crimes against our fellow human beings. First and foremost, I'm an American. I can tell you that right now. I'm very patriotic and I'm very devoted to America. And I feel like it's sort of like if I were working for Coke or Pepsi, right? I'm just naming off two big, Fortune, small number Fortune companies here. But, if I worked for Coca-Cola, I would be like, oh, I'm for Coke, I'm for Coke, I'm for Coke. But, of course I wouldn't go around and shoot people that drank Pepsi, but it's just what team I'm on. And, none of us chose to be an American. We were born here. And there's a level of pride, and I don't like to really use the word pride because it's a happenstance thing. We were born here, not by our choosing, but still though, I'm proud for the most part of the nation I live in for the work we do and how strong we are. And I feel lucky to be a part of that, and I wouldn't want to give it up. If you live a certain way and you get used to that, and it's obviously a pretty decent way to live, you don't want to just give that up and say, well, you know what, I'm tired of living in luxury here. I want to go live in a box. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not saying other nations live in boxes. I lived, I'm not going to name places, but other industrialized nations who have a solid government and everything like that. I mean, I've been parts of Asia, parts of Europe, South America. I've seen the world, and I've actually lived in certain areas for a number of years. And I got to friends, I got to know people. I uh, learned some of the language of a particular area. Had friends there, learned the culture, and I have an affinity for that culture, and it was exciting to get to learn that and to be involved with them while I was there. But I want to come home, and this is my home, and I don't. And of course, when I was there, not everyone, not of course, not 100% of the people anywhere appreciated me being there all the time. I'll, you know, there's some slang terms, some derogatory terms that I knew in that language, and I would hear them from time to time. But I have thick skin, I just let it roll off and kind of smile and go on. But that's their country, that's their culture, and I was just visiting, passing through. But I'm back here in America. I wouldn't expat for nothing. I'm too, most of us are just too devoted to this nation. So with that being said, I'd like to get into the two-party system that we have and talk about those two parties just briefly. And this is my take on it. You can agree or disagree, and you can put in the comment sections whatever you feel. But my take on it is at its core. Now I'm going to go extreme, right? So I'm just going to go all the way to one side. And I know that there's areas of gray and there's variations and there's different kind of tenets, along in this line of thought. But at its base root, I see the GOP or the Republican Party, one and the same, of looking at an industry as the backbone that makes America strong. Okay? Corporations are people, a strong global presence in business. That's what makes us strong. People have called it the military industrial complex. And I agree, we need some military. I've seen the charts where it's like, America spends way more than anybody else. I would need more data on that because I really don't think that we outspend everybody by that much. Some of the numbers may be a little hyped. I don't know. Maybe they're not. But I know that at one point in time, Russia was spending right along beside of us. And I know China doesn't, they don't slack on military spending either. So, I don't know how accurate those are, but I do know we spend a lot. And how expensive the planes are, per plane and all of that. I know it's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But we do need the military presence. And I'm not going to sit here and debate over how much what that should look like. I'm going to leave that up to those who are in charge of keeping our nation safe. I do know that there's some bad actors out there around the world that would take advantage of any misstep that the United States made, period. End of discussion. They would. You don't get on top by chance. You get on top by brute force and just doing it. So if we gave another nation who wanted to be on top the opportunity, they would take it if they thought they could defeat our military. But like I said, I'm not going to sit here and debate over what those numbers, dollar amounts should look like. But at its core, I see the Republican Party as, business, industry, finance, globally dominate and be on top. That's where I see them. On the flip side of that, I see the Democratic Party as, hey, people should be the backbone of the nation. People are what makes us strong. Smart, intelligent, people who have a big heart and go out and help the nation or help other nations and strive to build America into an intelligent, scientific powerhouse. That's and it's not just about science or whatnot, but it's the people, and they see that as the backbone of the nation. I think, in my opinion, there needs to be a lot of both. And that's why I don't profess to be Republican or Democrat. I guess if I had to pick a side, if I had to say which way I leaned, I think I lean to more toward the liberal side because I'm a fan of humanity. I'm a fan of our species. Like I said, I don't like borders, and I don't like confining my, caring nature to my neighborhood. It's a global thing, and I know that there's people even in areas where, uh, we may see them as our enemy or want to do us harm. Not every single person over there is like that. I mean, most of those places have despot type rulers. They're the ones in charge, and the people don't matter, and blah blah blah. But it only takes a few bad actors to rise to the top of our viewpoint, right? So we look over there and we say, "Oh my gosh, look at how horrible it is over there. Look at how much all of those people hate us." When it's really a handful of people, but they're the ones with all the attention showered on them. And they're really, really good at hiding, and they're really, really good at deception, especially location deception. And they have a lot of money behind them. Most of them do, and I don't think people realize when we were talking about Osama bin Laden, that's a very wealthy family. Saddam Hussein had a gold toilet. I mean, these people aren't hurting for money, and so they have resources out the wazoo. And so we're fighting a cyber battle. We're fighting, with the deep web stuff, and they're recruiting down on that deep web, and YouTube videos come out. They post things. Of course, most of the popular sites, most of the regular sites, jerk that stuff down as quickly as possible, but it gets around, and anyone can save it. But when you start posting things to .onion sites and things like that, it's gonna stay out there and can be discoverable. But with that said, not everybody in the Middle East wants to chop people's heads off. I can guarantee you that 100%. I am accurate on that. Not everybody in the Middle East wants to chop people's heads off, and a lot of times it's all or nothing with politics, and I think that's an unhealthy way to be. And that's why I wanted to add beer and talk about this. Because I think there needs to be a give and take. I think there needs to be a mix of both. And what I've seen lately is very, very hard lines drawn. And they're not drawn in sand. They're being drawn in concrete and steel. Let me tell you that. They're being drawn where the water's not going to wash it away. And there's some very, very hateful things being said and going on. And, people say things like, well, it's easy to say when your guy's on top. Well, I don't have a guy. Actually, the closest I had to having a guy was Bernie Sanders, but we all know how that went. Just because he was honest. I mean, he was so honest and he was so real. But I didn't agree with everything that Bernie wanted to do, but I agreed with his temperament. I agreed with, his caring nature. I totally was sold on the guy. Now, I could be completely wrong, and Bernie could be a wolf in sheep's clothing, but boy, he sure is. He's a good actor if he is. He needs to be cast for an Academy Award. But, that didn't happen. He was an independent running under the Democratic ticket and two-party system, and he was an outsider coming in, and I think, that's really what killed his chances. And I'm not going to say anything bad about any president, previous or current. That's not what this show is about. There's some things that have concerned me throughout history, at least from my cognitive existence, and being mature enough to actually get into politics. Of course, I didn't have an opinion when I was 5 years old on the president. But once I got to a point in life where I was like, you know what? I kind of understand this stuff. I'm and I thought back then I was right about everything, and now I've learned that I'm hardly right about anything. But, but once I got to a point where I was mature enough to really analyze the situation, I had concerns about all the presidents, one way or another. They're people, they're human beings, and they're up there in a position. Of course, they're some of them are very smart, some of them are very articulate, some of them are not. Some of them have different skill sets. from others, but they're in charge of running our nation. And yes, there's checks and balances, but a president can do a lot of good or a lot of harm. And for us to be completely on board one way or against, okay, I'm going to put it that way. For us as individuals to draw these hard lines and say, I am completely against one or I'm completely for the other is asinine. Okay? It is completely and utterly ridiculous. There is no human on the face of this earth that you should put your total faith in. Not anyone. I don't care if it's Albert frickin' Einstein coming back and say, nobody. You'd never put your complete faith in anybody. And don't defend their mistakes. When they make a mistake, own it. They're fallible. They're human. That's what we do. We make mistakes. It's the ones that refuse to learn from those mistakes that worries the crap out of me. Because to be in politics, you have to be someone of a certain temperament and a certain stature and a certain education level. And you need to be of a certain mentality that you are the servant and you're going to make mistakes. Own them. It's the ones that refuse to learn from those mistakes and just try to whitewash it that just irritates me, because no one's perfect. And to start making Obama or anyone else out to be Jesus freaking Christ that walks on water is asinine. Okay, I got that mad part out of the way. Let me add a little more beer. Okay, with that said, any president that is elected has a job to do. And it is in the best interest of each and every one of us that they accomplish that job in the best manner possible, because it does affect us. Okay? We're not watching a football game here. We're not picking sides and saying, whoo, I'm for Ohio State and all of that. We are either backing or not backing a person that can affect policy that can affect us all. And I'll tell you this, and I'm not pointing a finger saying, this is Hitlerism or whatever. But I will say this. We need to be astute. We need to be alert. We need to keep our eyes open, and we need to be honest with ourselves. And we need to watch these people. And when they do something, we need to be looking for why. Every angle. Why? And I'm not saying be a conspiracy theorist. I'm not, no. But this is a game. It's a game that affects real people, right? But this is a game that has been played for a long time. And when these people do something, they do it for a reason. And I'm not saying that every president's so smart that they have an ulterior motive of every single thing that they've ever done, but they have aides, they have staff, they have all these people around them that are manipulating the playing board to get things done. And I'm not saying it's some big conspiracy, but I'm telling you that if they want to pass a certain order or bill or whatnot, they will smokescreen the heck out of you and just slide that thing through. Now, I'm not saying I'm for or against any. Well, the tactics are there. That's what they are. And I'm not saying we would be for or against anything they're sliding through. What I'm saying is keep your eyes open and watch and pay attention, because it's easy to lose something. And once you do, it's very, very difficult to get it back. And I'm not pointing out anything specific, but just throughout history, it is a struggle to gain a liberty, a privilege, anything. Easy to lose it, very, very difficult to get it back. So we should always pay attention. And this is with any president, Democrat, Republican, Independent. I don't care who wins it. We need to watch them, and we need to pay attention. And don't just listen to the talking heads of their side. You really have to pay attention. And you really have to read between the lines. And don't become blind. And don't just hate everybody who's against you, because they may be seeing something that you didn't see. And without communicating from one party to another across party lines, we're going to miss things. We're going to put our blinders on. That's what some of them want you to do. They want you to put those blinders on so you don't see the smoke screen and you don't see what they're doing that people aren't paying attention to. And some of it may not. Some of it may be to line someone's pocket. Something may be to get something that we've been striving for forever. I'm not saying the what. I'm saying just pay attention and understand it, because if you don't, they will snowblind you. They will smoke and mirrors you. They will keep you ignorant. This is both sides. The politicians, the least you know, the better. Because, of course, they're there, they're elected. Oh, they think they've got the end-all, be-all plan. But they're human. And they're fallible. Every single one of them. All right, I'm going to go back and listen to this, and that's all I'm going to say about it at this point. The hard line in the sand, the not talking back and forth, the division in the country is just playing right into their hands for the most part. Wake up. Just wake up. All right, if you like this type of content, go on ahead and hit like, or, shoot me some comments down there. But as always, please subscribe to the channel. If you don't, you won't be alerted when I post new stuff out there. So, like I said, this may turn into a one-man show. If it does, I'll try to bring you more content at a later date. But this is Spur signing off. As always, please subscribe.